morning everyone. As stated earlier in the clip, my name is Blake Freeman.
And my name is Angus. We are the new colleagues for the Southport State School Health Committee.
So, as requested by our school principal, our first job and task is to identify a major health issue that we think is relevant and needs urgent attention on so that we can combat it within our school but also within our community.
As you saw in the opening clip, physical activity rates have dropped dramatically over time, and students just aren't getting the necessary daily movement that they need in their bodies to live a healthy and active lifestyle.
But you might ask yourself the question, how has this become such a major issue over time? Well, our own philosophical approach and theory, backed up with key research and justified evidence, states that modern day technology has impacted heavily on the physical activity rates of the youth and adolescents within our community.
Together, Blake and myself have produced a main statement that we feel addresses the issue. Being active plays a key role within our school community as it provides great health benefits.
Technology has been detrimental to physical activity for the youth of society.
However, we can promote health through the use of modern day technology to ensure all students are both active physically and mentally by getting the required physical activity
needed. So, our first theory is observing the number of students staying inside on their lunch breaks. How have I come to this conclusion? This is because, whilst on prac, I saw a staggering amount of students staying inside on their lunch breaks, either playing on computers, in a dark lab room, or also in the library reading a book, rather than going outside and being a physically active student. There is nothing wrong with reading a book or being on a computer. However, students on their lunch breaks need to be participating outside, being active and socially aware. Students are stuck inside a classroom all day, 5 days a week, reading and writing with the classroom teacher. This is carrying over into lunch breaks, which is having a detrimental effect on the physical health and well-being of all students.
Our second theory states that apps such as Pokemon Go and fitness equipment, for example the Fitbit, engages students in physical activity. Our main idea behind this observation is about using technology as a way of promoting physical activity amongst students and not pushing them away with technology games such as PlayStation and Xbox. This observation links back to our first theory and is a way of giving students an incentive to be outside and participating in an active way. In addition, the technology that is being spoken about requires students to be moving constantly and thus creating physical activity.
And finally, our third theory is that technology can be used to motivate both genders to participate in physical activity. This is a crucial part of conquering this health issue because participation rates are down in both male and female. We will be analysing through recent studies and using key research to find ways in which that we can promote the importance of being physically active so it appeals to both genders. This will lead on from our second theory as we are looking at creating technology that both genders will be motivated to use and therefore create higher participation rates within our school but also our community.
With these observations and theories, we will now propose and justify a plan for addressing these issues using the health promoting schools approach. A health promoting school is one that consistently strengthens its capacity as a healthy setting for living, learning and working. We will be using this same approach to endorse the importance of physical activity in our school.
So, firstly, to find out key research to support our first observation and theory, it's important to seek the amount of screen time that children are getting each and every day. Screen time includes children watching TV, playing video games or on a computer. According to South Australia's Health Organisation, a study of preschoolers aged between 1 and 4 showed that a child's risk of being overweight increased by 6% for every hour of television watched per day. If that child had a TV in his or her bedroom, the odds of being overweight jumped an additional 31% for every hour watched. Australia's physical activity recommendations recommend that 5 to 18-year-olds accumulate no more than 2 hours of screen time a day for entertainment. Then we find out that the peak time for TV watching for 10 to 13-year-olds is between the time from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m, and with another peak at 7 a.m. in the morning, which is very alarming. This meaning that some students throughout the day aren't getting anywhere near the amount of physical activity that is recommended by Australia's Physical Activity and Sedentary Behavioural Guidelines for children between the ages of 5 to 12 years, which also state that these children need a minimum of 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical movement daily. More alarming statistics show that 75% of screen time is TV at age 9, dropping to 60% by age 16. 2, obese children watch more TV and accumulate more screen time than non-obese children. 3, watching TV for 2 hours per day during childhood and adolescence has been shown to attribute to 17% of adults being overweight. So, what implications can be enforced to reduce these figures so students don't feel the need to go into computer labs or libraries on their school breaks? As you can see, I have created a mind map that applies to the Ottawa Charter Health Promotion recommendations, which is to advocate, enable, and mediate. As teachers, we have to advocate within our school, and we have to encourage the students to participate in physical activity, especially focusing on participation within the playgrounds on their lunch breaks. This has to not only come from our physical education teachers, but also by the classroom teacher, and needs to be addressed and spoken about at school assemblies as well. Furthermore, we need to enable strong school support for students who may not be as physically talented or confident by introducing structured games on lunch breaks that appeal to all students with different sporting and physical abilities. These sporting games can be run by our sports house captains, in which each house has a nominated day in which they run the sporting events. The last implication on the Ottawa chart is to mediate. We do this by incorporating a whole school approach. As a school, we need to promote the importance of physical activity and raise awareness of how too much screen time can be detrimental to children's health and well-being. We can mediate these issues by not only informing the students, but also the parents, the community, through the use of school newsletters and holding conferences for parents and members to attend. Another implication we can use is to see technology and physical education as two separate topics all the time. Instead, we can use modern day technology so that they can link together and integrate to therefore increase and not decrease the amount of physical activity that children are getting in schools. This is then linked to our second theory.
CDC released statistics that 75% of children and teenagers don't get at least 1 hour of physical activity a day. That's drastic and may be partially attributable to why 1/3 of our child and teenage population is also obese. So suddenly you put this app or this game in people's hands and they're out walking and searching for Pokemon. So the whole game is predicated. I know you said you haven't downloaded it. Danica, I know you said you downloaded it, but the whole thing is predicated on actually going from place to place and finding these Pokemon and catching them all. So you can't actually just be in one place and really catch them or play the game successfully.
As discussed earlier in the presentation, the amount of time young adults are spending online is staggering. 56% of teens between the ages of 13 and 17 are online several times a day. Our aim is to use this amount of screen time to promote daily movement. A recent app called Pokemon Go has gone viral and become one of the most downloaded apps on the App Store. The game requires you to catch fictional Pokemon that appear in your town or suburb. As they pop up, the user must adventure out to find them and, as they say, catch them all. Ever since the release, pedometer devices such as the Fitbit and Jawbone Up have shown increases in daily movement, which then lead to more time out moving and also burning calories. These graphs are evidence of people's movement since Pokemon Go was released only a week later. This idea encourages students to be outside moving and being interactive with each other. Using the app alongside the pedometer devices, we are able to give students an incentive to complete goals for the week and also catch a certain amount of Pokemon for the week. The body is moving, the mind is racing, and by giving those 56% of students who are online daily an incentive to be outside whilst online, and it will be a step in the right direction. In this graph, however, it shows that males are being more active than females are. Patterns 1 to 4 show an increase of intensive activity over a period of time. The The patterns indicate that females do not participate in physical activity and drop as the intensity becomes greater, and this leads into our third theory. We have found that females at a young age do not feel they have the necessary skills to participate in physical activity compared to boys. Our idea of promoting physical activity through technology is to give all students an easy and simple way to develop necessary skills for physical activities. With an app such as Pokemon Go, it allows students to enjoy their experience and also keeping fit without even realizing it. This can include walking and running, which are skills stereotypically girls do not enjoy expressing to others. As students continue to progress with their physical activity, their motor skills will develop and girls will feel more confident in showing their skills. This will lead to increase in physical activity, and the statistics shown in the previous graph will change over time for females.
In summary, let's revisit our main statement to reassure everyone what our main focus is on when dealing with the lack of physical activity in our school. So, our main statement clearly labels that being active plays a key role within our school and community as it provides great health benefits. Technology has been detrimental to physical activity for the youth of society. However, we can promote health through the use of modern day technology to ensure all students are both active physically and mentally by getting the required physical activity needed. So, in conclusion, we know that here at Southport State School, we can incorporate technology and physical education together so that we can conquer this health issue as one. The key theories that were stated and clearly proven with research means that as a school, we can have a positive impact on our children so that we can provide them on a health, safe, and active pathway for the future. Angus and I, as your new leaders of the Health Committee, believe the best approach to tackling this health issue is by reassuring that we are a health promoting school of just not now, but also leading into the future.